This is Afnan Alhalees, and my colleagues member are Nursena and Osman. We're going to present for you our strategy, which is an active open spaces of Büyükada. The main idea behind our strategy actually is focusing on the social aspects. According to the analysis that we did, we found that most of Büyükada locals are not satisfied in terms of two aspects. The first one is their youth are leaving the island. The second one is the crowdedness, which are created by the visitors. When we did an economical analysis, what we found actually that the island economy delay in the market area, and most of the workers of that area are from outside of the island, which leads the youth to go out of the island looking for jobs, which leads to make the majority of the population of the island are elders. In terms of visitors, all the ferry drop off on the markets area on the northern part, which make that area or the city center of the area very crowded. Accordingly, we look at the existing places that's used by the locals, especially the seniors and the youth. And what we found actually that their activities and places are limited. Their places are limited in the northern part, and activities are limited between shopping, walking, riding bicycles, feeding the pigeons. While the visitors plan as shows at the right side, their places are scattered on the island and their activities are limited as well. When we overlap those two maps, what we found unfortunately that the locals' places are used by the tourists, which make them very crowded. Accordingly, we decided to take benefit of the neglected open spaces that on the island and take benefit of them by providing activities for the elders and for the locals themselves, the elders and the youth, and use those places as well to separate the tourist places from the locals in a way to minimize the crowded and to enhance the locals' privacy. We're supporting the idea of circulating Büyükada by reusing the neglected open spaces and turn them into an active open place. To start up with our scenarios and implementation, we're going to start with the places that are going to be provided by the elders, in which the places that chosen are chosen according to the topographical location with the lower slope, and the places has to be next to other generation facilities in order to decrease the enclosure between the generation. In terms of activities, we decided the activities according to case studies of aging cities, according interviews that we did ourselves and that we found on ABB and the existing events of the island. The dark red plots shows on the map at the right shows the new decided area for the elders, in which we have the first one owned by the unregistered and located next to a children's school, while the second one owned by Galatasaray Foundation and next to children playground, whereas the third one is have a private owner and located next to children school. Next, please.
This chosen plot is an example of how you're gonna implement our strategy in elderly places. This elderly place is surrounded by the buildings, so there is no need for shading elements. There is a hospital and primary school near this place. Across this place, there are stairs, and in front of the place, there's a low slope road that elderly can walk easily. And there's an existing facade in this place that we want to keep in this place. Next slide. We colored existing stairs and used them as a gateway. By changing the height of the steps, we designed sitting areas on the stairs. Next slide. This is how elderly place looks without changeable structures. We propose fixable structures to make the place more fixable and provide different changeable activities. There's a stepped area where people can sit, speak, and watch various performances such as theater, concert, and etc. There are swings to attract children. There's a gardening area where people can grow plants. In the upper level of the site, there are fixed sport equipments, and in front of them, there's a flexible area where people can sport, such as yoga and other sports like Pilates. To identify this place, we use mimosa and viburnum flowers for landscaping. Next slide. Okay. This is the elderly place with the changeable structures. On the upper, we have structures that might be used for different activities like craft workshops, talks, and also group by vibe and by population can use this place for their remote working workshops. Next slide.
In terms of youth places, we choose them to be next to the existing youth places to make it easyable and reachable for them. In terms of activity, we decided them according to according to the analysis that we did, in which we have to attract them by entertaining them, case studies that we did, and the youth needs and events. Next. The number plot showed that the youth places, which are the first one owned by the Ministry of Youth and Sport and located next to Sea Sports Center, the second one owned by Galatasaray Foundation and located next to elder places, where the third one next to a football court.
This chosen place is an example of how we're going to implement our strategy in the youth places. This plot is located near to the Büyükada Sea Sports Center. We offered flexible areas, skating areas, stage and playground for children in this place. Next slide. This is the front view of the youth place with the changeable structures. By different combines, people can have different activities such as mirror maze, workshops, and exhibition. To identify youth places, we use lavender and bougainville for landscaping. In the slide, we see youth place with and without changeable structures. This place has a perfect sea view to let people watch the scenery. We designed sitting areas, and near the sitting areas, there's a playground for children. In the second rendering, this place is with the changeable structures. In this structures, reviving by populating group can have their activities. Next slide, please.
Our new tourist places are located away from the local places in a way to define their pathways away from the locals. In terms of their activities, they are choosing according to case studies, the tourist type who are visiting Büyükada, and events like riding bicycles, workshops, local events and eateries, places, etc. In terms of the plots that we choose for them, as you can see on the plan, we chose it at the left or at the west side of the island. The first one is owned by the government and near to a cultural heritage building. The second one is owned by the government as well and located near to a ministry and a tourist area.
This chosen plot is an example of how we're going to implement our strategy in the tourist places. And near the site, there's a monastery, and around the site, there's a forest. We offered flexible areas, stage, it's flooring colored like a chessboard, so people can play chess in this place. And we offered fixed shading element in this place. This place is also on the gastronomy and bike roads, and it exposed sun. Okay, this is how our place looks without changeable structures. Mostly we offered flexible areas, and we offered fixed shading elements. And on the shading elements, we put solar panels to use sun energy effectively. On the flooring, we have rain collectors to save rainwater. And to identify this place, we use cistus and tamarix flowers. Okay, this is tourist place with the changeable structures. In these changeable structures, people can have workshops, exhibitions, sale units, and etc. From Büyükada app, people can check activity dates, and Gastro Circle group can have their festivals in this place. Next slide.
Here for tourists to go from ferry station and come back without interrupting the locals. The tourist place is gonna be shown on Büyükada application, as it's gonna be explained later by Büyükada app group. And in terms of their path, the Büyükada gardening group, with Büyükada gardening group, we're gonna emphasize their sidewalks by having the flowers.
Here we're gonna talk about our conception ideas about our fixable structures. We mentioned before that we will create structures in order to enable various activities in the squares we have created. Our priorities for these structures are that they will be easy to use for users or people who provide any organizations. Also, they can be created in desired shapes and size according to the needs, and all structure elements that will be adapted to the natural structure of the island. The most important factors here are that about easy assembling and disassembling of the structures to be created and the low carbon footprint they leave. According to these, we decided to provide a modular structure or units. We are seeing examples of how buildings units can gain different properties by combining them. Also, this type of ideas provide different type of experience when using these units in different way rather than one large pavilion. Here we will see how the structure we intend to use can build with interlocking each other and with non-skillful techniques. The most important part for the build of the structures will be foundation points where the wooden legs placed. Wooden legs will be placed on the floor at intervals of 3 meters, and they will be formed by combining them with each other. When the structure are no longer needed, they will be dismantled in the same way. In here, we are showing how our elements will be stored in material bank till the locals use them. In terms of circulating materials, when we examine the transformation of the wood we use for the wooden construction. After the wooden pieces are removed, the damaged one will be separated and dismantled, and the stable ones will be sent to the material bank for maintenance and repair. In material bank, the wood pieces that have been overhauled are rearranged, and they will sent to the place where they will be used, and the desired structure will be created again. In this way, the lifespan of the materials are going to be extended and allowing them to be used again and again.
Our structure is a co-production element in which it's combined between our knowledge as an expert and the user's needs, while the user is gonna change this structure and accommodate it to the function that they want, as it shows how they use it as a shading element, and they use it for eateries, places, workshops, and shading under their seatings area. At the end, to make it easier for the local to assemble and deassemble, we provide the manual in Büyükada's application. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening. And the next group, which is Büyükada application, gonna present their strategy after us.